Caitlin Clark is a superstar. Not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
That wasn't the MVP battle I was looking forward to. It turned out to be a pretty rough game between the Fever and the Aces.
Otter wants to see her play. She was there with a bunch of her teammates from her rec league team, and all we were watching was Caitlin Clark missing shots.
The Aces scored another victory against the Fever this season, marking them as the one team Indiana just can't seem to beat.
The Aces are the only team that the Fever have not beat yet.
Sure.
And whether we think that the Aces are as dominant as they were in the past or not, they are still the defending two-time champs. That is a great measuring stick game. That is a great confidence booster. That is a galvanizer.
They'll get another shot at it this Friday. First off, a big shout out to Aja Wilson.
She's hands down the best player. Could it be a situation where she takes sweepstakes, where she wins the MVP, she wins Defensive Player of the Year, and she wins Finals MVP?
Yeah, well, that'd be live.
She just became the all-time leading scorer in WNBA history for points in a single season.
Yeah.
That's what's so impressive is that the amount of energy that she exerts.
What more can you ask?
Nothing. She got that elbow jumper. She can put the ball on the floor, finish with either hand. She has no flaws.
It was quite a moment when she scored to clinch that record. With Aaliyah Boston defending her, Aja found her sweet spot for that mid-range shot. That's what makes her stand out, her knack for scoring efficiently from that area.
Well, the Aces aren't who we thought they were until they get to the playoffs. Like, there's so many other storylines heading into the playoffs now that are pretty interesting with what we are going to see or not see from them.
Even though she managed to score some important points in the fourth quarter, her overall shooting wasn't great in this game. Caitlin Clark had a tough time too. Her three-point shot just wasn't there.
The reason why she was missing shots, I will tell you this. They picked her up on the floor all 94 feet. They made every minute of her night an absolute nightmare.
Since the Olympic break, she had been on fire, but today was a different story. She only hit 1 out of 10 from beyond the arc, which really impacted the game.
They were all over her. There was no way. I mean, and for her to get her shot, she's trying to come off of screens that either weren't working or they honestly, they had two people marking her, it seemed like.
Another factor was the first half and some of the rotation choices made by Christy Sides.
So she missed damn near every three she took, but what she was doing, she was dishing. Some of her passes, I know she passed Pistol Pete at the collegiate level as the all-time greatest scorer. Some of her passes looked just, I mean, they were just as crisp, innovative. I didn't see that on the floor. She did type of passes.
For instance, Christy Wallace got some playing time after being absent for a while. Unfortunately, she missed an open shot from a nice pass by Caitlin Clark, which was a bit disappointing.
You know, Christy always draws that best opposing team's offensive player.
While Wallace played hard on defense, Katie Lou Samuelson was also in the game, but didn't contribute much. She seemed to lack confidence and wasn't effective defensively. If she's not scoring, she really doesn't add much to the team.
They were amazing, and to the point where some of her teammates weren't ready for it, or they were, and they're not used to it from her yet.
I'll give Sides a bit of credit here. While her decisions didn't seem to make much sense for winning the game, maybe she was thinking about building confidence and giving players some experience as they head into the playoffs.
This game turned in the third quarter. They were down by double digits at half, and Caitlin Clark's teammates started performing better.
Since the Fever have already secured their spot, the outcomes of these games aren't as crucial anymore.
And the Fever already locked up a playoff spot on their night off.
Yes.
But man, this is the first time that they're going to be in the postseason since 2016, a 7-season playoff drought. And this is exactly what Caitlin said the goal would be this year. You know, people right away were like, are you guys going to win a championship? She's like, pump the brakes. The goal is to get this team, A, above a 500 record,
Correct.
and B, back in the postseason, and that's exactly what they've done.
That might have influenced Sides' choices. For instance, if Lexi Hull finds herself in foul trouble during the playoffs, who else do they have with a similar playing style? Perhaps that's why she wanted to give Wallace some playing time. The same goes for Katie Lou Samuelson.
The Fever have been so fun to watch.
Yes.
They've been so fun to watch because in the beginning of the season, it was, okay, well, we're watching for Caitlin anyway, and we're watching for, you know, her incredible passes and for her logo shots and to see how much more history she makes. But because, to your point, she's elevated the whole team, everybody's playing so incredibly well.
With so many big players to defend, maybe Sides was trying to see how well she could shoot. They've been looking for the right fit at that 4 position.
The people who listen, the people who have watched me cover college women's basketball for the last 3.5 years, I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan.
Definitely.
I am a huge Caitlin Clark fan, as most of us are. Anyone who likes basketball likes Caitlin Clark. Does she have haters? I'm sure that she does.
Mhm.
There isn't a single very famous player walking this earth that does
Sure.
not.
Bartolo Colon.
Now, Nalissa Smith is a bit of a puzzle for me. Every time she gets the ball, I worry she might lose it or make a questionable decision. She did okay in this game and played hard, but that position has been a challenge for the team.
The Fever are still a young team
Yes.
who, as we mentioned, haven't been in
God,
this
they
spot.
look like they grew
Nobody,
up right before our eyes.
yeah, like they're still a young team who is riding so much momentum right now.
Mhm.
In any other year, if Caitlin comes right out of college and has the sort of gauntlet run that she's had to have, I would say, yeah, rest her, get her some. They had the Olympic break. She had a month off, which is a huge part of why you're seeing so much of this team be re-energized too.
Then there's the issue with the officiating. The Fever have every reason to feel frustrated about the calls in recent games, especially in this one. The Aces seem to get a favorable whistle, which put Aaliyah Boston in foul trouble.
Here's the thing about the Aces. They are not who we thought they were at the beginning of the year, but they still have championship pedigree.
Mhm.
They still have the ability to turn it on. They still have 4 Olympians on that team,
Correct.
right? Like they are tried and true, proven champions, and they've got the league MVP on their team and a finals MVP. And like they've got what they need.
I didn't know they traded for Caitlin Clark. That's crazy. You said MVP.
It's wild.
No, that's crazy.
For example, there was a play where Aja was trying to establish position, spun around, and there was no contact, yet she got the call. Those questionable fouls on Boston definitely hurt the Fever's chances. Becky Hammond, the coach of the Aces, was visibly upset and animated on the sidelines during the game. Despite her team's efforts, Caitlin Clark, the star player for the Fever, had an impressive performance, scoring a tough basket while being defended and earning an and one.
You beat the Aces.
Mhm.
Hell, let's just pipe dream it. You beat the Aces twice back
up.
to back. Like that is the kind of momentum, the kind of moxie that you
Yeah.
want to carry into the postseason.
And then you-
but I have only ever taken issue with the discourse around her.
Sure.
Not with her. I think she is great. And I think that it is not her responsibility. Some people say things like, well, I wish that she would do more to calm a small group of her fans from being so nasty. I don't think that's her responsibility. It's not her responsibility to check.
If you don't give
you
it
know,
air, right? If you
yeah.
don't, if you,
And it's not, well, it's not her responsibility to carry, she already carries the weight of
true.
the league and her team and her endorsements and her family and all of this pressure already. It's not on her
Mhm.
to be burdened by social media clowns.
However, her shooting from long range was not as accurate as usual. Aja Wilson, the Aces' key player, had a challenging game, making 11 out of 28 attempts for 27 points. For the Fever, this is a situation they can manage most nights.
But I think MVP. Now, I'm going to look at this the way I did with Michael Jordan. Now, she's not the Michael Jordan of her sport as far as athleticism, playing, dominating. But Asia Wilson is the best player in the game.
The real issue arose when Caitlin Clark struggled, hitting just 6 of 22 shots and only 1 of 10 from three-point range, needing 22 attempts to score 16 points.
And just for the record, Caitlin isn't much of a defender either. Though she can and she will steal the basketball. She's 15th in the WNBA in steals. Pretty good.
Aaliyah Boston also had a rough outing, scoring only 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting and dealing with foul trouble. Despite the team's reliance on Clark, Boston, and Mitchell to consistently play at an all-star level, they didn't quite hit the mark in this game.
She is starting to push Asia as the best player in the league because I don't see anybody control a game the way Caitlin can.
However, it's not a big deal. They'll keep pushing ahead. The Fever are almost guaranteed a playoff spot, although there's a chance they could fall behind the Mercury.
I'm sorry. It's gotten to the point where Rookie of the Year is over 2-3 weeks ago. All of a sudden, Caitlin Clark is starting to push Asia Wilson for MVP of this league, and I am not exaggerating.
If I had to make a prediction, I'd say the Fever will probably land in the 6th position.
I think that Indiana is a problem. And the way that they are playing as of late, when you look at the numbers of what Caitlin Clark has done, her improvement and how she has adjusted to the speed of the game, and her players have gotten used to playing with her. She knows how to lay it out on a dime.
Caitlin Clark expressed her dissatisfaction with the referees following her game against the Aces. The Aces deserve some acknowledgement for their strategy. They effectively prepared for Clark's signature move to the left, which she typically uses to set up her step-back three-pointer.
Her court vision is impeccable, and now her teammates are ready to catch the ball. They trust she's going to get it where it needs to be. But y'all,
forcing her to go right instead. Although she has been successful driving to the right this season, they also managed to disrupt her short roll passes, a key part of her game, indicating they had done their homework.
is this behind the back pass? Come on now. I love it. I love it. And that wasn't just one time. She does that on a frequent and drops it right there. Perfect to Aaliyah Boston.
So let me just sprinkle in, because you mentioned AB. 2 of those highlights, I believe, were a Clark-Boston connection.
After all, they are the reigning champions. Clark had a tough time making her outside shots, but the officiating has become a notable topic.
Those two have been the second best scoring duo in the league behind Asia Wilson and Jackie Young. It has been so incredibly efficient. The last time we were all together for the show, we talked so much about their pick and roll together. But to me, the numbers bear it out. They've been on terrific tear since the All-Star break, but it also looks like they're playing with joy.
While her missed three-pointers were just that, misses, the ongoing frustration with the referees is becoming a pattern.
Okay, by now I'm sure you've seen Skylar Diggins assault Caitlin Clark after Indiana blew out Seattle. Now, was that jail? No. Would it be a fight in the NBA? Yes. What I don't get is the Seattle coach here is the one complaining after the game, and Skylar, tears in her eyes, being like, how dare Caitlin embarrass me?
Earlier in the season, she was advised to adjust to the league's physical play, but it seems that the situation hasn't improved much.
But I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that, so I want to thank him for that. But overall, I thought once we got to that media timeout around 5 minutes in the third quarter, I thought we all kind of just took a breath. It was a little chaos there for 2.5 minutes, and I think I could have done a better job of kind of regaining my cool, but that's like the fire and passion that just gets me going. It's just finding a way to channel that and use that, and I thought I did a really good job of that at the end of the third and the fourth quarter.
When it comes to physical play, it seems like any contact made against her is immediately flagged as a foul. Even something as simple as a screen set for her can be called a foul.
How dare they beat us by 30? Hey, ladies, grow up. They didn't take their starters out in time? What are you talking about? And here's what I love. You think Caitlin's going to back down because they're crying? Like, how can a rookie embarrass us? What do they keep beating us up like this? How is she so good? No, Caitlin doesn't back down at all. She's like, hey, zip it, Skylar. Shut up. Stop crying. She literally mouths, stop crying. I'm not sure if it's in this video.
Which could mean that her three-point shots might not count if the foul is on the Fever. She's not getting the kind of superstar treatment that would often put her at the free throw line.
Look, the hottest team in the WNBA right now is the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell has been balling. Lexi Hall has been an X factor, and that was a great chess move, just getting this lineup with chemistry. But make no mistake, Caitlin Clark is doing things beyond her years.
Speaking up might make a difference.
Nobody with a straight face can say there is a real debate about who the most impactful or best rookie in women's basketball has been this year. It's Caitlin Clark.
Here's what Clark mentioned after the game against the Aces. Honestly, Chelsea barely guarded me, just a few times. Jackie was usually the one defending me, or sometimes Coulson would step in. They're all really tough and physical defenders. I was surprised by some of the offensive fouls called. I often feel like I get held and hit a lot during games, and then when I respond, I end up getting called for fouls. It's frustrating. It seems like they see things differently, and we even had to use our challenge to keep Aaliyah Boston from getting her 5th foul in the third quarter, which could have taken her out of the game. Losing the challenge also meant losing a timeout, which is tough. I know they'll be physical again, and I need to expect that. I think I need to use my speed better, handle contact more effectively, and work on my cuts. I felt a bit tired and slow tonight, so I'll focus on that for Friday. Clark handled the situation well, but is clearly frustrated.
There should be 2 unanimous awards in the WNBA this year. The MVP should be unanimously to Asia Wilson, every single first place vote. And Rookie of the Year should be unanimously to Caitlin Clark, every single first place vote.
It seems like the strategy is to be aggressive with her whether she has the ball or not. That's a solid defensive tactic for a top player. But Clark feels she's not always receiving fair treatment, which is adding to her frustration. Honestly, Christy Sides needs to be more proactive. She should speak up more during these moments. Becky Hammon recently demonstrated how to stand up for your team by getting a technical. It's been a while since Christy Sides had a similar impact. It would be a smart move, especially before the playoffs, even if it means getting getting a technical or ejected to make a statement. The Fever have done better than expected this season. It's surprising to see them clinch a playoff spot early and start talking about championships. Moving on to our second story, the Phoenix Mercury has stirred up some buzz regarding Diana Taurasi's potential retirement, one of basketball's all-time greats. They recently tweeted, "If this is it, you have 2 more opportunities to see the greatest of all time at home." This post has sparked a mix of reactions, with about 891 likes, indicating that some fans might be doubtful. Many are left wondering if this is a true sign of retirement or just a strategy to sell more tickets.
Obviously, a lot was made of this matchup between yourself and Diana Taurasi. I know she's one of your idols. How big is it for you to get a win here against her today?
I'm just happy we won. It was cool to play against her, and obviously a really great game. And like you said, this crowd was absolutely incredible.
Taurasi has faced retirement rumors before, and fans are eager to see her play one last time. Some speculate that the Mercury might be trying to generate excitement for their last home games, while others are hoping for a championship run before she hangs up her jersey. I really want to see her end her career on a high note, but I doubt that's in the cards. I think she's set to play in the upcoming Olympics, but that might not be allowed. Let's be real, if this is it, she'll be playing her final home game in Los Angeles on Tuesday, September 17th.
You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. Not saying that it's not going to translate, because when you're great at what you do, you're just going to get better. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie. And, it might take a little bit longer for some people.
Regardless, that game will mark the Sparks' last home match of 2024. Honestly, I can see her going on a retirement tour. If she takes a minimum salary, she could keep playing for another year. Plus, they could bring in another top player to support her, alongside Skylar Diggins-Smith, Sophie Cunningham, Diamond DeShields, and Brittany Griner. I don't really think she should keep playing, but she probably could. It's not the end of the world. It's not too far-fetched to think that Diana Taurasi might continue. However, that could put the Mercury in a tough spot.
No, I think my favorite part about Dee is similar. She keeps it honest, she keeps it real. But we've been in so many scenarios, right? Whether it's living overseas together in Russia, playing against each other in the WNBA.
The Instagram live video, that was amazing.
You popped my cherry.
Sports photographer Bree Lewerka, who has documented Clark's journey from Iowa to the WNBA, posted a viral shot of a ball squarely hitting Clark in the face. The image was shared with love by Lewerk, who captioned it with a congratulatory message for her friend's latest accolade. Within hours, the post exploded, racking up thousands of likes and comments. Clark herself chimed in, not with praise, but with a single sharp word: troll. The criticism toward the 2024 number 1 overall pick has died down for the most part thanks to her on-court improvement. On this night, the reaction on social media was rather unforgiving. Several NBA legends have been praising the guard, with Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas being one of the latest. He praised Clark's factor and her complete offensive game, noting that her teammates will adjust to her passing style and her turnover rate will come down next year. Caitlin has managed everything thrown her way this season quite well, including this situation. I think most people will appreciate her response. She'll also navigate the challenges from this game effectively and bounce back. The silver lining for the Fever is that they have another opportunity to face the Aces on Friday. Defensively, the Fever performed reasonably well in this game overall. I do have some concerns about the fouls and their closeouts on three-point shooters, but it's tough to get too worked up over this result since it doesn't carry significant weight. What truly matters is the process, and for those of us who have watched Caitlin Clark and the Fever recently, it's clear they can play much better and sharper than they did against the Aces this time around.